Hey guys, welcome back. So in the last video we came up with our list of keywords and we popped them into ScrapeBox. We chucked our keywords into the keywords box. We've got custom footprint mode running and we've got the site we've got the custom footprint set to site:groupon.com. So now we're more or less ready to begin scraping. Now I'm going to go over a couple of things in ScrapeBox that I like to do because I've found it works really well for me. Firstly, you should be using proxies. I'm not going to be using them in this case, just so we whip through everything really quickly. We've got a small list of keywords, and the way we're going to be running this scrape, we won't actually get ourselves into trouble, so it's all going to be fine. But if you were using a larger list of keywords, or you're doing this a lot each day, you definitely want to use some proxies down here. I've just put some dummy ones in here for now so you can see what they look like. Use private proxies if you can afford them. Scraped ones from Google are okay, but they're generally pretty slow and unreliable, so you'll often end up missing out on a lot of results if you use scraped proxies. You get what you pay for at the end of the day. So we've got our list here anyway. Now actually, just while I'm here, I'll mention this. If you were scraping a site like, say, Groupon or any other directory site, and you didn't actually know what you wanted, as in you didn't want to target any specific keywords, you just wanted to find every single page for that site and pull off every single email address, or do whatever you wanted with all of these pages. What you can do instead of using keywords like this is we'll just get rid of, oops, wrong key combination. Oh, oops, there we go. Weird, for some reason Control X was trying to close ScrapeBox. I don't know what was going on there. So what I sometimes do, if there's a site that I want to scrape and it's got more than 1,000 pages, so I know that running it without any keywords is not going to give me the result I want. What you can do is just go, click on the scrape option and then into the keyword scraper, put in a space, and then just hit the append A to Z button, hit yes, and now we've got A through Z, and then hit it again and hit yes. So now we've got A through Z, then A, B, A, C, A, D, etc. And then do it a third time, and now we've got 20,000 keywords here, and I'll just show you the next way I do things, which this list of keywords isn't going to help us too much because it's space A, so it's this is going to find pretty much anything. In fact, most search engines will ignore this because it's just one letter, and the letter the word a or a is a stop word, so it gets filtered out of any search queries. But what we can do is select all of these, copy them, and bring them into a notepad window, paste them in, click on File, Replace, put a space in the Find What, leave the Replace With blank, hit Replace All. And now what we've actually got is this list, the exact same list, just without the spaces. So we've got AA, AB, AC, AD, AE, etc. All the way down to ZZZ. We should see right at the bottom, just very slightly out of the screen. There we go. ZZZ. So you can actually use this type of list to scrape sites where you're not actually after anything in particular. But in our case, we are actually after our list from our list of zip codes. So we'll be using that instead. So we'll just pop that back in. Anyway, we'll start our actual scrape now. So once you've got your footprint in here, site:groupon.com, you've got your keywords loaded in, which is all of our zip codes. Just make sure you've got the engine set to use custom harvester. It's much better than the detailed one for most uses. Make sure the results is set to 1000. If you've got proxies, tick the box and use them. I'm not going to be using them in this case. And then click Start Harvesting. Now from here it's complaining that we're not using any proxies. That's fine, we should be using them. I don't want to use them in this case, just so we whip through this really quickly. Now here's where one of my tricks is I use Bing for most of my scraping. For anything where I don't care about finding the URLs of search engine results for Google, I generally use Bing. The reason being that Bing's really fast. It doesn't throw up captures. If you start hammering it with queries, which means like you can basically run scrapes against Bing with just a couple of proxies, and they don't really block them. And even in our case, we're going to be scraping against Bing with no proxies, and they're still not going to block us. If we tried to do the same thing against Google, we would get blocked pretty quickly. Then if we tried to actually do any searches ourselves on Google, we'd have captures getting thrown up in front of us, and it would just be a real pain. So instead, just use Bing. Yahoo's the same deal. You can use that as well. So I'm not going to use that here, just so we get through it faster. So from there, just click on the proxies menu. If you don't have any proxies, you can tick the use server proxies. And that'll use some servers provided by ScrapeBox. I've generally found these to be pretty unreliable, so I'm making sure that it's unticked. If you're running a really huge scrape, you might want to get into the auto-load proxy file stuff, where you're using another copy of ScrapeBox to generate a proxy file and load it in, or maybe you get sent a list of proxies once per day or something like that, and you have that come in via Dropbox or some other method, and you want ScrapeBox to load them up and use them on a regular basis. But in our case, we're not using any proxies, so we have nothing selected in here at all. We've got Bing selected, we've got all of our keywords loaded in, we've got our footprint loaded in, we're on the custom harvester, and now we can harvest. So I'll just hit start. Now you can see we've got heaps of results coming in really quickly. We're only doing these keywords. A lot of these zip codes don't really have any results at all, because there weren't any businesses advertising in there, or I don't know, maybe the zip code doesn't even exist. Maybe you guys can tell me. But we've got a bunch of results here. That's all we really wanted. So when you hit this screen, you can just hit exit to main, and now we have a list of all of the addresses that or all of the URLs from Bing that have this keyword and are from Groupon.com. So that's the first scrape out of the way, guys. Really simple stuff. In the next video, we'll start playing around with some cool stuff too. I'll see you there, guys.